In this video, I'm gonna show you what I actually have in my camera bag and gear that I think is genuinely worth investing into in 2024 if you're trying to get to that complete filmmaking kit. Now, a lot of videos on YouTube are gonna show you their camera setup or their camera backpack and what they have in it in the perfect way, meaning that that's what it looks like when they pack it. I'm gonna show you what I realistically pack into my camera bag and how I stuff it to make sure that I can take everything that I need, and hopefully you can walk away from this video feeling a little bit better about your own organization. All right, so this is my camera backpack of choice. This is the Nomadic and Peter McKinnon travel camera backpack 25-liter edition. There is a bigger version of this backpack, but I decided to go with the 25-liter edition because a lot of airlines these days are cracking down on how big your carry-on can be, and this backpack is honestly just the perfect size for me. I also have some of their accessories. This is like the accessory clip. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but along with this backpack and this clip and everything else I show you in this video, I will have it linked down below so you will be able to find everything. But I'll explain in a little bit why I've decided to have this clip on the outside and what I'm doing with it. Now, depending on what configuration you get, the backpack also comes with these packing cubes and dividers and all these great things which are awesome for organization. But as you're gonna see in this video, I have a ton of things that I put in this backpack. So because of that, even though I do have the packing cubes, I've decided to take them out just because they do take up a lot of space and I need every single amount of space that I can get inside the backpack. All right, cool. So with that stuff out of the way, let's actually get into the backpack. So like most camera backpacks, it does open up from the back, which is great. And then this is how I have the inside laid out. So I have ripped out some of those dividers and set it up like this. And I'll show you guys why everything is the way it is and what I put in each and every single component. Okay, so the first thing I do is I start off by building this center component. And that's just because one of the things about this backpack is that if you do go too heavy on the top, this part tends to sag down. So it's really important that you have your center or your base built out correctly. And so the first thing I get in there is my drone of choice, and it is the Mavic 3 Pro. Now, I've been using this drone for a couple of years or since it's been out, and this is absolutely my go-to professional workhorse for any kind of drone work. I have been experimenting with the Mini 3 and Mini 4 Pro here and there, but if I need the absolute best quality, I'm going with the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. And next up in my drone kit, I'm using the DJI RC. I just don't use any of those NC controllers anymore, so any kind of smart controller you can get your hands on is the way to go, and I usually slot that in right in front of the drone right there. I do have the Fly More combo for the Mavic 3 Pro, so I have one battery already inside the drone, and then I usually take two more batteries and I just stack them up on the side right here. And next up, we have my action camera of choice. This is the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro. I've been putting out a ton of videos on this lately, and I carry two of them. So if you want to go ahead and check out any of those videos, this is my new go-to action camera for all of my FPV videos. So I grabbed two of these and I generally just put them alongside the drone in the same compartment. Now, as you're about to notice, I really stuff every single compartment as much as I can, which is honestly more realistic of a camera bag. You'll see all these videos on YouTube, like I mentioned earlier, where people will just make their camera bag look perfect, and in reality, that's not really how things are. So the next item up I have is the Slate 2 Bipolar Pro. This is what I use to carry all of my SD cards, an extra CF Express card, and any kind of memory cards. This thing is super well built, ultra rugged. I've had a video where I literally ran this over with my car and it survived. That's where I got some of the scratches. But yeah, this is what I use to carry my memory cards, and I usually just leave this on top, right on top of my drone, or if I need quick access to it if I'm in an airport or something. And sticking on the theme of memory, next up we have the SSD that I take with me. This is the 4TB X10 Pro from Crucial Memory, and this is just the fastest and smallest and most rugged SSD that I can find on the market. And so this is the one that I take, and I generally just toss it here along with the rest of my things. Okay, next up, let's dive into what I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, and that's the camera that I shoot with. Now, I shoot on a Canon R5C, and that's the camera that I take whenever I travel, but unfortunately, I only have one of them, and that's the camera that's recording this video. So this is a Canon EOS RP, and I'm genuinely just using this as a prop because I don't have dual R5Cs. So if you do see this video, make sure you pay attention to this part. I'm not shooting on a Canon EOS RP. This is just my first camera that I ever bought, and I'm using this for a prop, and I shoot everything on the Canon R5C. Now, along with my Canon R5C, the only lens that I take with me when I travel is the Canon RF 24-70 f2.8. This lens is an absolute workhorse. It's incredibly sharp, and it literally handles every single situation that I need it to. So yeah, this is the only lens that I take with me. And for packing purposes, I usually attach the lens to the camera because it's going to be the only lens that I'm gonna be using. And because of that, I can just open up this top pouch, and then I just simply drop the camera in here, and this is magnetically flapped at the top, so I just close that up just like that. Now, if you know anything about the Canon R5C, it is an incredibly power-hungry camera. So I have this nomadic battery case holder. It is magnetic, which is awesome, and it's able to store up to 3 batteries. A really cool detail here is that this does come with these red stickers, and so the idea is that if you have a battery facing up with a red sticker, it means that that battery is dead or needs to be charged, and this is just a great way of keeping track of all my batteries. So yeah, I keep it in here and also in the same pocket as the camera. It just goes in on the top and the flap closes right back up. Okay, cool. So let's move down to this part of the camera where you have some of these zipper pockets. And in these zipper pockets, I like to keep my ND filters. So the 2 ND filters that I carry for the Canon R5C are the PL-VND 2 to 5 stop and the PL-VND 6 to 9 stop. These are the new chroma glass filters from Polar Pro, and these are just absolutely incredible. They have a VND as well as a polarizer built in, and so these are awesome for most situations. Now I just toss them in here, and these are the only 2 things that I keep in this bottom area, and I just zip it up, and that's usually it. And then similarly in this top pouch, I'm also keeping ND filters. So these are the DJI ND filters for the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro, and these are the ones that I'm using right now. So these also go in the top pouch right here. And then for the Mavic 3 Pro, I'm using the Vivid collection from Polar Pro with the built-in polarizer. These are the best filters that I've used for the Mavic 3 Pro. And then similarly, they also go in the top pouch, and that's it. I zip it up and then I just hold all my ND filters right here. Okay, cool. Let's move back down into this compartment of the backpack. And then over here is where I put all of my main FPV stuff. So for the controller, it really depends what system I'm gonna be flying on that specific trip. But if I'm using ELRS 2.4, which is what I've been using most of the time now, I generally use the Commando 8 from iFlight. This is a great controller. I have a Champions lanyard around it. And then I usually just take the controller and I push it to the bottom of the backpack just like that. Next up, I have my goggles of choice. These are the DJI FPV goggles 2. Now, I do have the goggles 3 as well, but I just prefer how much less space these take just because the battery is a lot smaller, and whenever I'm traveling, I'm trying to maximize space in my backpack, as you can see. So I usually take the goggles and I'll just stack them on top of the controller just like that. Lately, I've also been taking the Fujifilm X100VI on all of my travels. This has actually become my main photography camera while traveling, which is hilarious. Even though I do have the Canon R5C in here, it's usually only recording video, and I'm using the Fuji X100VI for all of my photos. I absolutely love this camera. It's really hard to get your hands on right now, but if you can, I highly recommend that you do. And the way that I pack this thing might piss some people off, but I usually wrap it up like this, and then there's a small pocket left here, and then I'll go ahead and I'll push it in, and it does usually fit perfectly fine. Okay, and the final thing that's actually going in here are these FPV batteries, and if you're an FPV pilot, you know how annoying it is to carry these when you're traveling, but I generally just take 4 of these 6S 1550 batteries. I generally find that in a day of flying while traveling with doing all this other stuff, I'm not gonna be shooting more than 4 batteries. So I typically just take 4, and then I'll do my best to just kind of stuff them wherever. And this is where the annoying part of like packing comes in, because depending on how things sit in the backpack, I generally have to play a little bit of Tetris or Jenga, and I'll just find wherever I can put these 4, of course, in a safe manner, because LiPo batteries do have to be stored properly, but I'll do my best to just make sure that they kind of sit in the backpack as best as possible. Okay, so that's it for the inside of the backpack, but we're not done packing yet. So once I have everything, I'll go ahead and I'll close the flap. And a good test of if you've packed properly is if you can just close the zipper comfortably without having to do any extensive kind of work. Now there is a laptop pouch right here. So it has its own individual zipper, which just goes up and down. And the pouch is great. I'll actually turn it over and I'll show you. The pouch is great. I think it's super safe in there, super secure. And that's where I put my laptop. And my laptop of choice has been for a while the M2 Pro MacBook Pro. I have had the option to upgrade to the M3s, but honestly, I'm just gonna wait for the M4s. And I've never been able to push this laptop to its maximum. So I absolutely love it. And it goes very comfortably inside the pouch. That is the 14-inch version. And that's why it fits in so easily. And then I just zip up the laptop and the outside is packed. Okay, cool. Now let's quickly flip over the backpack. There's a ton of camera gear in here, but let's explain what I use this little clip here for that's also made by Nomadic. And it's very simple. It just clips onto the outside of these ridges. You can put it on whatever level you want, but I have it here because I usually clip this open, and then I'll take whatever FPV drone I'm carrying and I'll just slap it on top of the backpack, and then I'll close this clip. I'll make sure that it goes around the wings, so if it slides down, the drone doesn't fall off. but this is a really easy way to carry an FPV drone and just have it part of the backpack. Okay, cool. With the camera bag out of the way, let's talk about this little pouch also from Nomadic and Peter McKinnon. This is my accessory pouch. This is where I put all of my charging accessories because obviously I have no more space left in my backpack. And this usually goes in my carry-in or my check-in bag. So actually the first thing I usually put in here is an Apple AirTag, just so I can keep track of where my main luggage is. And that'll usually go up here in this main zipper pocket, and I'll just drop that in here. Now this also comes with a bunch of separators, but again, I've taken them out because I want to maximize the space. Now, along with the AirTag, I have some additional FPV accessories. So this is just to change props or open up my drones in case I break something, along with just some of those three-legged locks that you've seen on probably GoPros and other devices like that. I just keep all of this stuff in here. Now in the main compartment, I also keep a backup of these clips just in case the main one breaks holding my FPV drone. And then I have a bunch of chargers and memory card readers for all my accessories, which I kind of just randomly stack in here and make sure that they fit as best as possible. Now, I'm really bad with cables, but I'll also keep a USB-C to USB-C cable as well as a fast data transfer cable. And some people might get upset, but I just jumble up the cables like this. I'll put it into the accessory pouch, and then I'll just zip the whole thing up, and that's it. It's ready to go into my check-in bag. And that's it. That's everything that I pack into my camera backpack and that additional accessory pouch. Like I said, everything that I mentioned in this video will be linked below if you want to grab it for yourself. These are all affiliate links. You don't have to use them if you don't want to. That's totally cool with me. But that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. And until then, keep creating.